All right, you guys, welcome to a very special Diamond Leadership Team call with Keith Callahan today. I'm just so excited you guys are here and you're able to hear this live. And I know you're going to pass this on to many of your diamonds, and people are going to listen to the recording as well. Really quick, I'll introduce Keith, and then I'll just let him take it away. Make sure you have pen and paper. You're going to take mad notes. Like, this is going to open a can of worms. I know for sure, a good can of worms. Keith's a father of five. He's a 10-star diamond coach with Beachbody. I think he's been a coach now for 10 years. If not, it's coming close to 10 years. He hit the Million Club. He has 30,000 coaches in his downline, 25 5 stars and up. And that really is the gold, right? 25 people in his downline are a 5-star diamond or above. And then he has 7 in his downline that have hit the Million Club. He's also the author of Build to Last, which I read it in like 3 reads. I was lucky to be one of the early reads and write a testimonial for him. And I love the book. Anytime you have a book that's highlighted to death, like it's right, an awesome book. And it's not even a book, it's more like a manual. It's more like a manual how to structure your time in recruiting and building a team and mentoring those people, and how to build a 6-figure plus business that lasts, a business that's built on bricks, not on sticks. And I invited him to speak to you guys and share with you his philosophy on the business. We've built similar businesses. We worked with the same mentors, or mentor, I should say, which is Craig Holliday. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Keith. Thanks for jumping on, and I'm so excited that you're here.
Thanks so much, Kristina. So do you guys mind if I just pause for like 15 seconds? I have a crazy glare coming in my window and I just want to shut my shade a little bit. So I'll be back in like 15 seconds. Hold on. All right, much better. Now it's just on my head. Can you guys hear me okay? So I was so excited to jump on this call, and kind of for a selfish reason, you guys, I love talking on leadership calls, and it drives me bananas to talk on just regular team calls. So I don't know. I love talking. You can talk different to leaders, right? Like you can communicate different with them. And we've already gone, like everybody on this call, you've already gone through the all that basic stuff, and we can talk about building a business. Like we can talk about like really growing your business. And I want to start by throwing a few numbers out there. So, and I can usually I give my backstory to this, but here's the backstory. I don't belong here. Like I don't belong on this call. This wasn't if you looked at the life I was living up until I came into Beachbody, I was raised by an alcoholic father, alcoholism on both sides, mom's side, dad's side, an enabling mother. And I love my parents to death. I really do. Like I have a really good relationship with them, but I grew up in dysfunction, just like so many of us do. Like I grew up in a household that now like, so the end of this story is we live in this beautiful home in one of the best towns in Massachusetts. We do what we want, when we want, with who we want. And I get to spend my time with people who I really look up to, I respect and admire. But it wasn't always that way. When I got started as a Beachbody coach, I was bankrupt. I literally filed a personal bankruptcy and a business bankruptcy. And I want to give you guys a few numbers. And the only reason why I want to share these numbers is I want you to understand that I'm no different than you. I took a couple things and ran with them in this business, because a lot of times we see we see these people who get put up on a pedestal. Gosh, I didn't know. Sometimes I just let myself go with where we need to go with a call, and this is where I'm feeling. So sometimes we put people up on a pedestal in Beachbody, right? There's two pedestals, and I'm going to just lay it out for you. There's the pedestal of people who crush it in recruiting, and we put them on a pedestal, and we put them up on this pedestal, and we put them there rightfully so, because they're really good at recruiting. And then there's this second pedestal that we put people up on that it gets seen a lot less. And these are the people who are also, they're able to have other, they build these big downlines, right? Like they build these big, they have two skills. They're able to recruit talent, and then they're also able to do something with developing that talent, right? So that's the first thing you want to write down. There's two key skills in this business. The first one's recruiting talent, and the second one's developing talent. Here's the deal, guys. 95% of the people that you're following that get put up on a pedestal are only good at recruiting talent. And their businesses, and this is just straight out truth, they're not going to be there 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now. It's kind of like a celebrity, right? Like there's certain celebrities who are, I'm a Patriots fan, like Tom Brady's been doing it year after year after year after year, right? And then there's other people that they're good this year and they're gone next year. Here's the deal in network marketing. Being a good recruiter is a great skill to have, but being able to develop talent dwarfs that skill. Being able to develop the people that you're bringing in. So there's a few people, and literally I would count them on one hand in Beachbody, who have the ability to massively recruit and really develop those people into leaders. Right? But we have all these people that we look at them and we see them. And guys, I've had one-on-one conversations with a lot of these leaders who they're 15-star diamond, they're hitting Success Club 100 plus. And if they take a week off, their business goes away. Like if they take a week off, their paycheck starts getting cut. And I want to share with you, so you guys understand that point? Like we're starting off there, recruiting and developing talent. Like what we want to focus on as leaders is the developing talent piece. Like as leaders, we want to focus in on honing in and increasing our skill set in our ability to develop talent. And I want to give you a few numbers from my business, and I don't want to go into my story. My story is I worked my butt off and I made up in effort what I lacked in skill for a lot of time. That's my story. I started off with alcoholism with my dad, I'm not the guy with the resume. I'm the guy that dropped out of school. I'm the guy that it took me, Kristina was just showing that book, it took me 14 full edits, literally 14 full edits to be able to write that, because it doesn't come natural to me, but I am the guy that has the work ethic. And there's also another skill that I have, and this is how I can help today. I have the ability to see this business, like the big picture of it, and make it super simple. But my story, my background is I'm not any different than you. But I did a few things different. When I first started as a coach, I got signed up. It's going to be 9 years in March. So close, Kristina. So 9 years in March, I'll have been coaching for 9 years. Yeah. So I signed up and I hit the ground running, and the one advantage that I had, and I want to come back to this story, and if I don't come back to it, if someone can just remind me to, I call it the Bob story. Bob's my personal sponsor. So if I don't tell you guys the story about my personal sponsor, Bob, remind me to come back to it. But here's the one advantage that I had in this business. I didn't just believe that I could do this. Like a lot of us, and a lot of us are on this call right now, and we believe in the products, we believe in Beachbody, we believe in this opportunity, and we even believe that we're capable of this. You're like, yeah, I could do that. I could do that, right? Here's the difference. When I came into this, I was so desperate to make things happen because I was newly married. We had just had a baby, and I had just filed a personal and a business bankruptcy. I had to make something happen. And when I came into this business, I didn't just believe I could, I knew I would succeed. Such a tiny, tiny little thing, but you guys catch that? It's a massive difference between believing that you can do something and knowing that you're going to do it. It's kind of like going on a diet, right? Like we all believe that we can do the diet, we can lose the this and that, but knowing that you're going to do it, like, and that's a decision, guys. The decision that I don't give a F what this takes. This business opportunity, like so many of us, we're doing the work. We're doing the work. We're showing up every single day. We're putting in the effort. Like we're doing it. The only thing that's standing in your way is that one commitment, that one decision that you're like, you know what? I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm sick and tired of just going through the motions and believing that this is going to work, to being like, you know what? I'm willing to do whatever it takes, as long as it's within your morals and, you know, whatever. But because so many of us, our list, we've got a lot of things that we're willing to do. Check this out, guys. It's not what you're willing to do. I don't care about that list. So when I'm mentoring people, here's the list that I want to talk to them about. What are you not willing to do? Because that makes all the difference in the world. I don't care if you're willing to do 900 things. What's the one thing that you're not willing to do? Because when we go to work on that, that's when your business is going to grow. And that's one you want to write down. We'll circle back at that. That's like the uncomfortable piece. What are you not willing to do? Are you not willing to go live every day for a year? Are you not willing to get a therapist? Are you not willing to walk away from a relationship that's toxic and is holding you back, not only in this business, but in your life? Like that's the real juice in this business, right? So check that. So I got started, and just so you guys know, I have total squirrel syndrome, but I promise, like at the end of this, there'll be value. And I know I'm like telling my story and going off on these tangents, but I got started as a coach, and 11 months later, I was able to do this business full time. And I remember sitting, it was a Sunday night in January.
Are you done?
And no, I got about 45 minutes left.
Okay. I'll get you some more.
It was a Sunday night in January, and I'm sitting at my computer, and I was about to post on Facebook, and I was about to make a post that I was a full-time Beachbody coach, and I broke down. Like, everything in my life up until that point, my motivation was fear-based and struggle, and like I made stuff happen because I had to make stuff happen. Can you guys kind of relate to that? Like I knew how to hustle. That's what I knew how to do. In that post, like when I was making that post, I felt rich. I felt rich in the sense of like the crazy money hadn't come yet. We were making about $1,000 a week then, but I was free, you guys. Like I was free to be able to create life on my terms. I was free to, prior to that, I would leave the house at 6 a.m. and come home at 8 or 9 at night. And there was nothing more that I wanted than to be there for my wife and my new baby at that time. But I was just done, and I would plop down on the couch and veg out because I had no mental capacity left. Does that make any sense? And writing that post, it was just so, yeah, it was all of that. It was the ability, like I could, as corny as it sounds, like be there to change the diapers and help at night with my wife when she was when the baby wasn't sleeping, and then thoughts of the future, how I'd be able to walk them to the bus and get them on and off. Just those simple little things, to be able to take vacations when we wanted. And it really was. And that's, I would say that there's different levels of success in this business, but when you actually own your time, because that's the number one commodity we have, guys. When you actually own your time, it's just an amazing feeling. So that took me 11 months to get to. There's another number I want to give you guys. I want to fast forward to 3.5 years. 3.5 years into the business, I went on a spiritual retreat. I was away for 2 weeks. So I went on the spiritual retreat, was away for 2 weeks. And while we were away, we go to Lakota country, Sioux country in the southern South Dakota. And there's no cell reception there. There's no electricity. Like, it's desolate. So cut off from everything for 2 weeks. While I was gone, I got home and our team had added 800 coaches while we were gone. And when I got back, I didn't have a single text message, a single email, a single inbox. Nobody needed me. The reason that nobody needed me is because I had developed leaders underneath me. And write this down, like everybody on this call, the goal isn't to build your team, right? The goal is to become a team of teams. The goal is to become a leader of leaders. And John Maxwell gives the perfect description of this. He says, a leader of followers. So a leader of followers is someone who, you've got your own little team, right? He says a leader of followers needs to be needed, and a leader of leaders wants to be exceeded. So somehow when I got started in this business, I had the good opportunity, like Kristina did, we got trained by Craig Holliday, and he really, and I know Lisa did too, like he really instilled those points in us. And one of his other quotes was, getting up on stage and being recognized is cool, but wait till you're sitting in the stands or you're sitting there in the crowd and all your people are getting recognized. And so like what I want to talk about today is it's not that you want to change a single thing that you're doing. You want to do everything that you're doing. The freedom comes when we change the intent of what we're building, right? So it's not that you want to change anything. It's that, what are you building towards? Are you building towards staying on the hamster wheel of needing to hustle and hit Success Club every month? And again, it's not that you want to stop doing that, but what happens when you go away for 2 weeks? What happens if you want to take a year off and do something else? What happens if you want to go write a book and you want to take a year off? Is your business still going to be there, and is it still going to thrive with or without you? And the only way to do that in network marketing, and this is one of the things that I personally believe we're going to see a lot more from Carl. Carl changed his tune over the last couple weeks, and there's been a lot more talk about network marketing again, and a lot more talk. I don't know if you guys caught it. He has this statement now that Emerald's a decision. Emerald's a decision, right? Because we're all diamonds on this call. When you decided to go to Emerald, you just did it. Maybe it was your husband, your mother, your brother. Emerald's a decision. And we need to stop thinking of 30 days to Emerald. Seriously? Emerald is, you got signed up as a coach. Okay, let's get your first 2 people today. It's not, so it's the speed of the leader, speed of the pack. And I love that he's talking about that now. I love that, Emerald's not 30 days. Emerald's today, a week at the latest, because maybe you need to wait for someone to get back from vacation or something. But it's Emerald's a decision that we need to make. And all right, I'm going to pause for a second. Is everybody with me so far? Do we have questions so far? Because now I'm going to kind of get into some like nitty gritty stuff and kind of throw some more like out of left field stuff at you too. We good so far? All right. The intent. So the intent of what you're building, here's the deal. Like, here's the piece that you have to understand. The woman who builds a business to 30,000 coaches and the woman who has, say, 100 coaches and she's in massive hustle mode, it's actually easier to do it the other way. It's easier to build a business to, say, 30,000 people than it is for a lot of us have those businesses that we're in and out of Diamond or we're in and out of Star Diamond. And you have to just make that decision that you can do this. Not the other 28 women or the 28 people. I see John too. So one dude, I like it. So not the other people on the call, right? You have the ability to have success at the highest levels in this business, but in network marketing, nobody's going to crown you king or queen. You have to step up and you have to own that. And check this out. It's not about the daily activities. You got to get everybody has to understand this. The daily activities are the 5%. It's who's the person that's showing up to do the daily activities. What's the energy that you're walking with? Because we're in a business that this whole entire industry, not to get all spiritual and energetic, but this is an energetic business. This is a business that you have to picture yourself as a magnet. And you have to understand that the brighter, the shinier, the more evolved you're getting, when you're living your best life and you're becoming your best self, that's how your business grows. That's how you're able to see. Like, one of my favorite people to watch on social media is Lindsay Matway, because not because she's beautiful on the outside, which she is, she just gets it. Like, she knows how to put that out there, and like, you can't not look away, right? You can't look away or whatever, but you guys know what I mean, right? Because she's like charging that magnet up. So this business, like, we get so caught up and we think, here's the question that we all ask ourselves. And this is for us, but it's also for the people we're working with. The one question that's going to go through everybody's mind, whether it's a challenger that you're with or a coach that you're trying to mentor, is, can I do this? Can I do that? Can I get to the level that this person's at, that person's at? We all ask ourselves, and we all have certain levels, right? That we like, maybe we're all Diamond and we say, yeah, we can do that. But can you make $1 million a year? Well, that's for those other people, right? Or once I do, here's the other part that goes with it. It's, yeah, I can do that. I just need that next Instagram training or that next blog training. Like, right? We think that the next, like, once that next thing comes. But the question you need to ask yourself, it isn't, can I do this? It's, am I willing to do what it takes? Like, am I really willing to do it? Am I willing to sacrifice? Am I willing to go all in at a pace that's not maintainable? Because here's the deal. I've been saying that a lot today, huh? Here's the deal. So anybody that says you can just, at some point we have to grow past just hitting Success Club, just showing up, just doing the like periphery work. If you want to build a business, it takes massive effort. It takes effort that you're going to have to sacrifice other parts of your life. But you're going to sacrifice for a short period of time to live your life completely on your terms. From a mental, emotional, financial, spiritual, like all of it. But it's not going to happen by consistently doing things. I've never seen anybody have success by just consistently doing things. you have to have this massive action period, right? Like if you ask anyone that's achieved high success in this business, and it's not that they're doing it all the time, but they've either had one or two. Eric Worre has this quote that everybody has had at least one of those pushes. And he says one of those pushes will make you $1 million. And he said, if you find somebody that's actually been able to pull off two of those pushes, those are the people earning multiple millions. And he said 3 of those pushes will make you over $10 million a year. I believe that. I really do, because they're that intense and it's like that much work. And I don't want to scare anybody away. And I'm talking about, like, if we really want to catapult our businesses, because here's what's going to happen. Here's where we are with Beachbody, right? Beachbody was here. We had this major like uptick, and then for the last 2 years, it's sort of flatlined. Everybody follow me with that? Beachbody's still a baby company. What I believe is about to happen, because of all the changes that have been made, is we're about to turn into a real company. Like when I say real company, we're about to go from a good company to a great company. We're about to go from $1 billion company to a $10 billion company. That trajectory is going to be a lot. It's not going to be as, we had this huge climb over the last like 10 years, right? And then we leveled out. I think we're just going to stay on a steady climb up, 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 and up from now on. And what that means is there's women who are signing up right now and men who are signing up right now that you've never heard of, and they're going to blow it away this year. I think that what we have coming up, we used to have Beachbody and Team Beachbody, right? Those two things are merging. Here's the benefit for us. And don't pay any attention to any of the noise that people think Carl's not going anywhere. Like this is done in a, because here was the deal. We had all the direct marketing. So the direct marketing is like infomercials and all that stuff. And that's a very different business. You can test products, like you can launch product after product after product, test things and do all this different stuff. Then we have the network marketing arm. The network marketing arm, how our business works is it's a much slower cadence. And have you guys ever had that experience where you're just like, what do I promote right now? This is coming out. That's coming out. We got this new thing and that new thing, and this new program. Now it's just going to be every quarter. And we're going to have this huge push around a big launch. And then we all focus on this one thing this quarter. I'll do that next quarter. So it's going to be a very tempoed cadence that we have right now. And that's where we're at. Like we're at that next platform. Everything's all set with, like, we switched from DVDs and all that stuff. Now we're on the digital platform. I say all that because the opportunity's now. Like we're in January of a massive year. The benefits that I talked about when I said had those 800 coaches come in 2 weeks and no messages, the foundation to that was laid in that first year. That was 3.5 years into my business. But the foundation, that imbalance, that massive hustle was laid in that first year. That's what we all have the opportunity to do right now. Here's how you do it. Here's what I recommend. The number one question as leaders, because that's what we all are on this call, that we get, like if you guys are messaging your 5-star diamond and above, here's the question that you ask them. And I know it because we all ask it. It's 2 things. How do I find people that want to do the business? And then how do I get those people working? Right? Are we all asking those same questions? That's what we ask, right? The problem is with that question is it's not a direct answer. And I'm going to give you an outline that's going to give you a philosophy on how to approach the answer to this question, and it's going to make total sense. And at the end of this, we'll open it up, we'll have Q&As, but at the end of this, it's not going to be, your question isn't going to be, can I do this? Your question is going to be, am I willing to do what it takes, right? Here's the 3-step process, and that's what Lisa was talking about this book. Like this whole book, the name's deceiving. The real name of that book should have been How to Find and Develop Leaders. Like that's what the entire book is about. Here's the 3-step process, and I'm going to be honest, you guys aren't going to like it that much. The first step is leading yourself. The second step is, so the first step, leading yourself. The second step is positioning yourself. And then the third step is developing leaders. So whenever I'm working with the coaches that I mentor, you know where they want the answers? They want the answers on how to develop leaders. That's what we all want. That part's easy, guys. But we have to go through the first couple steps, and I want to explain what I mean by these first couple steps. So the leading yourself is so this business isn't about, and I just pray that you guys get this, because we get stuck up on the how-tos, like how do I find these people? How do I attract these people? How do I learn this social media thing? How do I learn this this new Instagram thing, this new that? And I'm telling you, you can have all these things that you jump around to, but if you focus on developing yourself, if you focus on leading yourself as a human being, as a husband, as a wife, as a mother, as a brother, a sister, mentor, like all of those things, you don't have to worry about all the other stuff, because again, that's the magnetic piece. You can go wherever. You can go into Instagram or Facebook or podcasting or blogging or whatever you're doing, because you're doing it as a man or a woman who other people are going to want to follow. Does that make sense? So and I'll touch on a few of these things, and my intention when I wrote that book, and my intention wasn't to like be on calls like this promoting it or anything, but I've been praying a lot about it. And guys, it's laid out for exactly what to do. I'm going to give you some of the stuff that's in it. So, and honestly, the reason I'm giving you this, I'll give you as much as you want. I'll read the whole entire book for you, but I want you to say like, I get it. Like, I get it. I need more. Give me a structured outline. So the first part, we have to develop ourselves. And I'm just going to like chunk off a few things from there. As leaders, we have to understand what personal development is. Personal development is not reading 10 pages a day. Personal development is not like buying the next book and the next book and jumping on the next training and the next. As Beachbody coaches, we're way overtrained and way underperforming. We don't need the next training. Here's what we need to do. We need to find out what's that thing that's standing in our way, and have the courage and have the guts to face it. Have the courage and find and make the decision. So here it is, like whatever, like what's the roadblock? You know what it is, because it's the thing that you don't want to admit. You don't want to tell anybody else. It's the thing that when you're having those conversations with your mentor, you dance around all the time and you never tell them that real thing that's really holding you back. That's personal development. So if we can dive in, I'd rather you read one book and that attacks whatever issue it is, like whatever thing, and it might not even be an issue. It may be something that you have to learn, like a skill that you have to grow into, but be honest with yourself. This is your life. Like, really be honest. What's that piece? Is it anger? Is it resentment? Is it guilt? Is it all of the above? Do you need to do you need a good therapist to help you work through it? Is it self-doubt? Is it insecurity? Is it a bad relationship that ended and you haven't healed that wound? So you guys get it, right? Like there is no, everybody wants the how-to. I'm giving you the step-by-step. So it's a 3-step thing, but you got to lead yourself first. And that doesn't mean you have to do it all alone. You have to like reach out. You have to find help. You have to find the right resources for you, because it's different for everybody else. And there's so many pieces around that. And the best way for me to, I use the word like being in your power. Does everybody, like if I say that, does that make sense to you? So leading yourself, to me, it's, am I walking in my personal power right now? Right now. And we should have like some of the tools in our toolbox. And I'm just going to rip through these because you guys are leaders and you'll know where to find deeper resources. But do you have a morning routine and do you have an evening routine? Do you have a way of when you get into anger, fear, guilt, shame, depression, whatever it is, do you have a way to actively move yourself out of those energies? Because it's okay to fall into that, but it's not okay to stay there. Right? So leading ourselves, write this down. It's how quickly can you get back into your power? It's not that you have to go and fix yourself. We don't need fixing. We need to get and stay in our power. And that can happen in an instant. We've all had times where we're in it and then we can get out of it in an instant, right? But how long do you linger in that space? Get back in your power. So we like bringing this all together. I told you guys it kind of comes together, right? We're all over the place in the beginning. Now it kind of comes together. But we're talking about the attraction piece and all of that. You have to be in your power to do that. So leading yourself is that attraction. It's that magnet. It's being in your power. It's being somebody that others would want to follow. Because the third thing we're gonna talk about is how do we get other people to take action? There's nothing sexier than you being in your power, than you walking through your own SHIT and coming out the other side. It's gonna blow away any selfie, any like whatever. Do you guys all know Haley Christian? Do you guys know her? How good was it to watch her? Like, she was stuck at Diamond for 3 years, you guys. 3 years doing the work, showing up every single day and hustle, like doing it. And then she made one decision. She was sick and tired of being sick and tired. She was sick and tired of not being in her power, of not taking control of her life. She went from Diamond to 7-star qualified in 3 months. Because she got in her power and she stayed there. And we all got to watch that on social media as she awkwardly like went through and shared it out there on social media. I'm good friends with Haley, so I can say these things about her. So I don't say anything that I don't say like with her on the call. But that's like if we think about a lot of us focus sometimes on the surface stuff. And it's kind of like when I'm talking about this power piece, this leading yourself. If you like, when you're looking for a man, you could have this beautiful guy that's like 6'2". He's all ripped up and, he's this really, this guy, right? But he's a jerk. Or you have this like average looking guy, maybe he's 5'10", maybe he's bald, he's got a little pudge on him. But he leads with his heart and he like adores you and he wants to take care of you, and you can see him like raising kids. Like, who do you marry? Like, it might be fun with that like sexy like 6'2" dude for a night, right? But who do you want to marry? Like, who do you want to be with by your side? And that's what we want to do with ourselves. Like, it's not about the next best picture, even though that stuff is great. And even though we can we can get our social media up to 300,000 people with all that stuff, but it doesn't mean your business is going to be built to last. It doesn't mean it's going to be there for the long term. So it's us, right? We're leading ourselves. Have I beat that up enough? The second part, this is going to be like writing down, because everybody loves it. It's like technical how-to. And just so you guys know, there's free resources in the book, but you can just go to keithcallahan.com/book. And the process that I'm going to go through right now is like all part of those free resources. Okay, so position. So a lot of people, maybe we're leading ourselves, right? And then we have other people on our team, and we want to know, how do we get them taking action? I want to share with you how I do it. By no means am I saying do what I do. What I would recommend, though, is catch the philosophy. Catch the philosophy, the overarching principle behind what I'm trying to do here. So I want to position myself as a leader. And does everybody, when I say position myself as a leader, everybody kind of get what I'm talking about there? When I have somebody that has come to me, and by the way, I only sign up like 2 to 3 people a month. That's all I sign up. And the real reason for that, it's just that I'm not a good recruiter. I always focus all of my efforts on becoming a really good developer of leaders, like a really good leader of leaders, because I saw that skill set drastically outweighs the recruiting skill set for what I wanted to build. A long-term business that pays high-level income over and over and over again. So it's like the building the leaders. So I have 2 or 3 people that come in every month. But when they first come in, when someone first comes in, they get directed onto a page, and it's a 2-part landing page. The first part is, first it's like, I'd love to fill out this to talk to Keith about, whether or not you want to be a coach. So the first part is like name and email address, and then they click next or something. And then it goes into a more detailed questionnaire. The detailed questionnaire, the intent behind it is I want to position myself as the one in charge. So with those questions, I'm asking things, and this comes back, it's like all Craig Holiday stuff. I didn't deviate from it. Are you willing to have a mentor-mentee relationship? Are you willing to look at me like your boss for the first 3 months? And then second part is I know I'm not your real boss, but for that type of thing, are you willing to embark on a personal development plan? Are you willing to allow me to speak truth into your life on areas that I think you could improve on? And I'm just ripping these off. They're worded a little better than that. But you guys get the point, right? The application is positioning me. If you're filling this out, you're coming to me because you want me to show you what to do. So they fill out the application. Right after they fill it out, they get an autoresponder that says, "Hi, Kristina, I'm super busy. I really want to talk to you, though, and I don't want to miss this. Can you do me a favor? This is my cell phone. Send me a text message and let me know that you sent over the application." So now they text me. So I don't even have to check applications or anything like that, but now they text me that they just sent in the application and they're eager to talk to me. So do you get those positioning things? I have them doing a lot of stuff, and it's not that I don't want to filter them out. I want to have the power because it benefits both of us. Does everybody follow me so far? So then I text them back and forth. Yay, excited to talk with you. Can't wait to connect. Every single time that I get on the phone with somebody, they say, "I've been following top 10 coach so-and-so, and I messaged 3 or 4 of them and nobody reached out to me. Nobody got back. I can't believe we're on the phone together right now. I'll leave it at that. So then when we get on the phone, here's what I talk about. We just connect a little bit of chit chat. Then I ask them, why they're interested in coaching, what their experience has been with Beachbody. And then I make this statement. And again, it's a positioning statement. I ask them, I tell them that I'm not the best guy if you want to learn how to run a challenge group or if you want to know all the ingredients in Shakeology. I said, we have amazing resources for that. But I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not going to spend much time teaching you how to do that. I'm going to point you in the right direction on stuff to get that set up. Where my skill set lies is helping you to build a big business. So if we're not a good fit, like if you're really looking for that, and who doesn't want to build a big business, right? So everybody likes that. And I would say that for everybody that fills out an application, probably 90% of more of people sign up. They sign up. So if they fill out an application, they're going to sign up, going through that. And then we go through, and on the getting started right call, my goal for them is to get them to Emerald that day. And then so I wanted to give you guys that, but there's also the real numbers thing. Like the sign up is high. The people that get to Emerald, the people that do anything is probably less than 50%. Like I haven't cracked that code yet, but people just aren't going to do anything. They'll go through all these things, but when it actually comes to talking to people and signing people up, your numbers are going to drop down. But the people who do something, their attitude and their where they're at is tell me what to do. Tell me what to do. I'll do whatever you tell me to do. So I wanted to share that, guys. And it's not, again, you don't need to do my exact system, but when I have new people coming in, they're coming in to work this business, and they're coming in to be working coaches. Like they're coming in to take those actions. And then I don't know, I don't think we're going to have a ton of time to go into this is exactly how I mentor. Again, in the book, that's laid out step by step by step. This is exactly how I do it. Once you're mentoring, I guess the overarching philosophy and principle there is I'm working on becoming the best version of myself. I'm working on living up to my ideal self. I'm consistently working at growing into and evolving as a person. And then I'm dependable. If I'm going to be there for my people, I'm going to be, and the biggest way I'm going to be there, you want the cheat sheet for mentoring, it's seeing people not where they are, but where they can be, believing in them. The biggest thing the two biggest mentors in my life were Craig and Bob Lucido. And the biggest thing that both of those guys, I don't remember all the nitty gritties. What I do remember is they believed in me, and they saw something in me that I didn't necessarily see in myself. And I was a wreck when I found these two guys. So don't look at your people how they are. Look at them how they can be. And every single time you talk to them, you're painting that vision over and over and over. You're holding that vision until they're able to hold it themselves. And then where the real growth happens when you're mentoring people, I always say it's once we get to the point that people really trust me. And here's how I know we're at that point. It's usually with anger, frustration, tears, and it's a breaking point where they're either going to do this or they're not. And for a lot of us, we're at that point right now. That point usually happens diamond, star diamond, here's when that point happens, when you've gotten to the point that you can't grow your business anymore unless you change as a person. That's where I love picking people up, because that's the work. And we get stuck there because it's okay, how do I do this? And it's like, oh, sweetheart, it's not how anymore. It's like, we got to start talking about this issue, because it's this issue that's holding us back, because you can't just keep going and doing. We've got to focus on this piece. And maybe it's there's so many different things. Like, you guys get it when I'm talking about the issue, right? Like, we all have the issues. We all have the pieces. And it's not that you have to, like, we're a wreck. It's how do you get back in your power? Because you can be in your power when you're walking through all your stuff. You can do it in an empowered way. All right, I'm going to stop talking. I have till 2:30, guys, so I can hang out, or if you guys want to jump off, or whatever you want to do. 2:30 Eastern.
So if you guys just want to unmute yourself and ask any questions, I mean, 100% take advantage of this. This is like so awesome.
I have a question, Keith. Hi, thank you, Megan.
Hi, Megan.
Hi. Thank you so much for all that. Wow. Oh my God, I have like butterflies. I have a question as far as like, how do you know when to, I know it's when you're working with somebody and they're showing you that they deserve your time and they're, you know, or checking in or like, what's your process with when to just kind of like step back or keep like checking in with it, not keep checking in, but you know, they're still in contact with you and they're still showing you. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's
yeah, I know
really
exactly what you're saying. Yeah. Here's this. It's super easy. And once I say it, everybody will be like, oh yeah, all right. When you don't want to get on the phone with that person anymore, stop doing the calls. Because if they're really doing the work as a leader, there's nothing more exciting than somebody that like is taking what you're doing and putting into action and signing people up and, you know, doing all that stuff. But when you're like, oh my God, I got to talk to her again, and you're like dreading it, it's because it's not going anywhere. And when here's the tough part that most people aren't willing to do. So I had a coach, she's a 3-star diamond coach. We were doing weekly calls, and for 3 weeks in a row, it was the same thing on how she was having this issue with her husband and all this stuff, and her, an insecurity about her weight. So this went on and on. This went on for 3 weeks, but this had been the story for the previous 3 years. And I just said to her, I was like, I can't, like, I recommended you to go to someone, like, this is who I would recommend to talk to. Like, we can't move forward, and you can't move forward in your business until we address this issue, like real issues. And I said to her, I was like, I have to pause these calls for a month because I don't want to get on them right now, because it's like, it kind of brings me down. And I said it, she was ticked off, but then she came back a few weeks later and was like, that was the best thing you could have ever done for me, because nobody has been willing to speak that truth to me. And this was like, I just gave you the abridged version. It was like, it was done with love and compassion for her situation. But yeah, I think speaking truth, like having that trust so we can speak truth, and then having the, like, not being afraid that if someone quits and leaves, right? Because the attitude that I have with the people I work with is, I love you to death as a person, and I would love for you to come along with me on this, but I don't need you. And it sounds a little harsh, and I'll be there for them as friends and whatnot, but I don't need that person, because I'm going to the top with or without them. And that's also very attractive to the people you're mentoring. It's very attractive when you're like, ooh, when they're like, she's going to leave me? All right, I got to pull my act together, you know? I don't know if that answered your question, Megan. Like,
yeah, that did. What I wrote down at the beginning of the year was build a team you want, not a team you need. And that's funny that you say that. So it's like full circle. Yes, that answered my question.
Yeah. And it's hard. Like, that takes faith and courage and like being able to, like, you're upping your game. You really are. And you're getting to a new point. It's going to be uncomfortable and it's going to be scary. Like, maybe that's the piece for a lot of people. Like, am I willing to step into that, like holding that space? And it's hard. Simple, but hard. Like simple, but not easy, if that makes sense. So if you guys don't have questions right now, what do your teams need? Because we've got another call in a couple of days, right?
Tomorrow night.
Keith, I have a question. Jesse Swaffer.
Hi, Jesse.
Hey, so if you get coaches who come to you and they're like, you know, dude, I want to work this. I want to do this. This is what I want to do with my life. My current job sucks, you know, and they say they're all in and they say all these things. On one hand, you have those coaches who say whatever, you know, they say, but they're not actually doing anything. But then you have those coaches who say it and they're trying. How do you show them, or do you even show them their potential? Like, you show them that they are capable of being able to make this a thing. But it's like they're limiting themselves. How do you help them break past those barriers, or do you at all? Like, what do you do with that?
I think it's different for every person, Jesse. I think that, like, what we kind of outlined, you doing it yourself first, and then you're building that trust with them and you're continuing to nurture that relationship. But the reality is that some people are never going to get there. The reality is that some people, like Haley, took her 3 years to get there. The only way that you can, so there's two things that we talked about, like this massive push in your business, right? There's two things. So we need energy to have that massive push. There's two ways to get that energy. It's through desperation or inspiration. You have to have that. Desperation, if there's things in their lives, like we can gently talk about that and gently fan those desperate parts. And the reality is that a lot of us are desperate. Inspiration is super easy. So desperation, you either have it or you don't, and you tap into that desperation. Inspiration is super easy as a Beachbody coach. Do a product or a program 100%. And the reason I say that is because you can't help but feel better when you do that. And that's like, that makes you alive. It makes you come alive, and it makes you want to share with other people, not because you lost the weight, it's because you feel good and you feel happy and your endorphins are up and like all of that stuff. So if I'm in that situation, the first question I ask myself is, am I operating from those pieces? Like, am I living my best life right now? So start with me and then work those steps with other people, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. And always look at your, like when we're working with people, like, let's look at them as like we're so like human beings are just so fragile. Like, let's understand that. And I heard this really cool quote the other day. It was like, as you're mentoring and working with people, it was, be hard on the issue and soft on the person. So if there's something that we're trying to work with them with, like, we're going to be firm, we're going to hold on this issue, but we're dealing with a human being too. So we're going to be soft while we're communicating, but we're not letting go. We're not letting this issue go. We're not like letting them get away with it, but we're gentle. Does that make sense? And the same thing with
absolutely.
ourselves. So Megan,
can I point something out too? Something simple that I just want everyone to think about when you're talking about seeing people as who they can become versus who they are right now. A lot of it too, you guys, is just getting on calls with people, face-to-face Zoom calls. And he hit the nail on the head when it's like, you have to be in your power when you're doing that, because, you know, for me personally, I've been sick for weeks. I haven't done any calls because I'm completely useless. You know what I mean? But how many of you, I would ask yourself that, like, are you getting on one-on-one high energy calls with people that you want to help them grow their business? I know some of you are, but maybe some of you are not. So that just giving people your time is sometimes the best thing you can give someone. And we're so worried about what we're going to tell them to do, when a lot of times it comes naturally if you just get on with the best intentions and you listen and find out where they're at and you smile. And, you know, a lot of believing in brand new coaches is just that, is just giving them your time. So that's something I would ask myself, ask yourself, is are you doing that? Are you getting on some one-on-one FaceTime calls with those people? How much of your schedule is doing that? Because Keith, that's something to maybe, you know, throw some numbers out too, is how, not maybe, I don't know if the question is, I know how long I do, so it's not a contest, but it's just to kind of let people be aware of either how many people you're talking to at one time, like how many people you're mentoring in a month, or maybe how long you actually work with someone.
Yeah. Well, I think that
because that's just not talked about in the network at all anymore, you know?
Yeah. The point that you're making, Kristina, it's a point that I didn't bring up because it's almost like a given to me, that I forget about it. That, like, that's the whole business. We're in relationship marketing. And if you don't have relationships with your people, deep relationships, like where you're laughing and crying and, you know, like, you know, everything and they're your best friends, like, they're going to go somewhere else when the next bright, shiny object comes along. I don't have any coaches. Like, I have coaches that I've mentored up that have exceeded me with their success in the business that still call and still connect. And obviously, like, I'll connect with them whenever, but probably like even once a month with that level. If I'm working with somebody that's running, like my main work is with somebody that's diamond, that I'm trying to get to 5-star diamond. And I usually have 2 or 3 of those people, and we're on the phone or texting every single day, like all the time. I'll take a call from them whenever, like, because that person is so valuable. Yeah. So we're constantly working together. My business looks a little different now because now I'm really just focused on leaders. Like, that's where I spend all of my time. But in the beginning, it was probably 20 to 30 one-on-one calls a week. And that was, and to be really upfront, that 20 or 30 calls is to find 1 or 2 leaders. That's really what's happening with all of those one-on-one calls. But a real leader is just so the my sponsor Bob my sponsor Bob sponsors this guy Charles Brown, who sponsors this guy Greg Plaskett, who you guys may know, who sponsors this other woman Christine, who then sponsors this guy Bob. So it's this guy Don Murphy, you guys probably know him. So it's Bob, then Charles, then Greg Plaskett, then Christine, then Don Murphy. So Don's, however you look at it, 4 or 5 levels deep, right? But Don was on one of Bob's weak legs. For an entire year, Bob spent like 20 hours a week just working with Don Murphy and his people, because Don was bringing in like leader after leader after leader. And Don was like not personally sponsored, like he's 5 levels down. But Don Murphy built a business that now pushes like 50,000 volume points a week. And for you guys that understand the comp plan, that's a lot. That's thousands of dollars a week. And this was 5 years ago. So for the last 5 years, Bob's been making an extra $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a week after week, probably $1 million cumulative from working with one coach. But that coach was a real leader. So he just gave him everything. He was there. He was driving back like an hour back and forth to his gym, doing one-on-one presentations. So yeah.
Are you still doing any type or any form of, like, for new coaches or people that are trying to go diamond where their skill set isn't quite there yet? Are you still doing any type of like 3-way call or any way to help those people close prospects?
Yes and no. So I actually think that, you know how I said I'm not the best with Shakeology and challenge groups. I think that the Beachbody Champions page is an awesome place for people to learn. So I direct people there. I focus really in on the philosophy and the mindset. And what I usually do is when I have someone signed up, I went through their application, we talked on the phone. So I have a little bit of a gist what this person's like. I'll actually put them underneath a leg with one of my up and coming leaders, and I'll connect those 2 people. So usually that up and coming leader is doing how do I sign up a coach? How do I, even if they're not, you know what I mean? Because they're huge value to that up and coming leader. So we kind of work as a 3-way team where I'm the one providing the inspiration, like I'm the one providing the high level leadership guidance, the building of the person. And they're probably like running challenge groups and stuff like that with my up and coming leader.
Right.
So a lot of that stuff gets bounced back and forth with the up and coming leader. And it's usually the first time my up and coming leaders had somebody like that. So it helps them to grow into that role where they're coaching someone else.
Smart.
Yeah, it's all in philosophy. It doesn't always work out that way, but
well, yeah, I get it. But you're working
yeah.
as a team and working with each person's strengths and letting opportunities to lead.
And to be honest, Kristina, like we're so far away from that I actually think that up and coming person can do a better job than I can with that like basic stuff.
Totally 100%. Lisa, do you want to just talk?
I've been typing in the chat.
I know.
Honestly, like this call has been so awesome. I've been like emotional, like no, I'm not gonna get emotional. And then I'm like, I think I need like one-on-one mentorship with Keith. And then like going back and forth. And it's just everything that you said is just so awesome. I think for tomorrow night, if you could talk a lot about, like, we were taught to always lead with the business first, where I feel like most people now lead with the products and the challenge group because it's safer for them. What I hear from a lot of my coaches is they're afraid of being pushy and they don't want to talk to people. So I always try to say, like, okay, well, think about Starbucks or your dentist or your whoever. If that person didn't offer their services, they wouldn't be where they are today. But that's kind of where my team is right now. But one thing I wanted to ask you, I'm like thinking of all of these things that are my personal roadblocks as you're talking, and some of them are personal, so I don't want to have it all spill out here. But just knowing like what is holding me back, and I do know what's holding me back, but I don't know how to get past that is one thing. And then like I've always been really good at staying in my power. Like I've gone through so much crap that I always managed to stay in my power, but some things have changed. My life has changed and I've been knocked out of my power. And so I have to continuously remind myself to dial myself back in, like that rope, I'm pulling myself in. I got to throw the rope to myself to pull myself back out. So some days I'm in my power, I'm good for the most part, but like you said, it's that time of how long are you going to stay out of your power that's so important. And I do feel in my power today, which is awesome. And I am rambling. But here's my one question. I was actually talking to Lindsay before our call, and I feel like for me, my biggest struggle is connecting with people. Like I can recruit people, and as bad as I want to be their friend, I can't get people on a phone call with me, or I'll do their GSR and then they ghost me. Like last week I mailed out like this care package to one of my newer coaches, and I'm constantly asking, hey, when can we hop on a call? When can we hop on a call? And nobody wants to hop on a call with me. So I'm like, I really am working like with the willing, so people that are in the downline that maybe aren't my personally sponsored. So I don't know if that's really a question or if you can give me any guidance on what that looks like to you.
Well, I think that you have to be gentle on yourself because it's a two-part thing. It's because usually the question comes up like, is it me? Like, am I not able to, like, are they not responding to me? And part of it's that, but part of it's also like, it's the nature of our business that you're going to get ghosted. I like that new word, like the teenagers ghosting. Kind of cruel though, like if you ghost someone for a date. But yeah, but that's going to happen, right? And I think that more so in our hide behind social media world, that's going to happen. So yeah, I think just like letting that be okay. And then at the same time, going back to it's like 3 steps. Am I in my power? Have I positioned myself correctly? And then the mentoring piece. And if whatever piece is falling out, like if you're not in your power or if you're not positioning correctly, it takes time to get back in. Just like when you're first starting as a new coach, it takes time to get this thing moving, and the work you're doing this month and next month pays off in that like 3rd month, And the same thing when you make a shift, like you're going to like, say today you were like, oh, this and that, I need to shift this. Okay, so you get into that space. It's going to take a little time. Like it's going to take a little time to see those results. And then speaking to the like pieces that you don't know how to do, what you need to grow through, but you don't know how to grow through them. Just from like, that's my, like, I lean on my spiritual path for that, my connection with God, like that, the answer, like I may not have the answers right now, but I'm leaning in, if that makes sense. Like, I'm leaning into it, and I'm trusting in the process.
Okay. I feel like I have so many questions, but the call was really, really awesome, and it's just a great reminder and refresher. I know for myself, like you said, there's the two different pedestals and things that we are recognized for in this business, and so it's easy to compare ourselves to other people and think, oh, I got to do this and I got to do that. And I laughed when you were talking about the next Instagram training, and I was like, looking at a new camera the other night, I'm like, my Instagram is going to change once I get this new camera. So I think that it's really just dialing it all back to the very basics. And I'm so excited for the call tomorrow because I think it will be amazing for the team to hear from someone other than ourselves, but to hear from you. And you are positioned as an expert. You really have a gift. And today's call was awesome, so I really appreciate you taking time out. So
You guys are awesome. Thank you. I appreciate the kind words.
I know there's some questions in the chat, Keith.
Sure.
Let's go through those.
I asked one. My computer's being crazy, so I don't know if you guys can hear me, but I basically wanted to know what imbalance looked like at first.
Who's asking?
It's Lindsay
Weiss.
Oh, hey, Lindsay.
I had to turn my video off because it kept freezing. Sorry.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
For me, imbalance was very imbalanced. I had I had actually seen Kristina, Lisa, and like that. I remember those guys. I remember Christine Dwyer, Janelle Summers. Like those are the names that stick out. And I wanted to make $1 million. I was like, if somebody else, like if other people are doing this, then why not me? And I set that as my goal from day one. And then I took a quick step back and I was like, okay, how am I going to do that? And here's the crazy thing. They were starting to recognize 15-star diamonds, but I also saw these people like Doug Fitzgerald and Tracy Morrow and Doug Couch and Robert Hudgens, and none of these guys were 15-star diamonds, but they all had this little black ribbon on their thing at Summit that stood for the Millionaire Club. And I was like, that's when I learned that it's rank does not pay you. Like if you take anything away from this call, it's not a rank versus volume, but rank doesn't pay you any more money. And what I learned from those guys is it's volume and developing leaders underneath. And so I set out for that really big goal as a new husband, a new father, and I didn't do anything. And I had the luxury of doing this. We wanted my wife to be able to stay at home with the kids. Like that was important to us and our family. And I had the luxury of working from 6 a.m. till 10 at night. And the only thing I focused on was work and my immediate family, friends, extended family. Like I let them know that I'm going, like I'm not going to be around. I'm like running with this thing. But that was for me. And like I said, I had big goals and I worked way more than the $1,000 a week I was making at the end of that, at the end of that 11 months that I told you guys. But what's can't be measured was the amount of up and coming leaders that were ready to pop. So the income went, my income was like 90,000, then 260, then I don't know, like the big jumps were all because of that. And this was for a year. Like I did that for a year and then it got balanced. But yeah. Cause it's not just about the time, it's about the not focusing on other things too. It's like that single-minded focus, that that energy.
I can relate to everything you're saying right now. Well, I can relate to everything you're saying. Oh,
Excuse me.
oh my God.
Because you've done it.
I've had 2 pushes, and it's trying to figure out the third.
Yeah, because here's like how the business goes that people don't tell you. You can maintain, like the pushes are all out, and then you can maintain this sucker with 5 to 10 hours a week. You can't grow it, but you can maintain it with 5 to 10 hours a week. But those pushes are like 80, 90, 100 hours. Like it's cuckoo time. It's not healthy. It's out of balance. But I don't know any other way to do it. And I've seen other people grow a big business without doing that, but it also fell just as fast as it grew.
Yeah.
Like these people who are really good with marketing and stuff like that, like they can grow these big teams and jump from company to company to company, but they rise and fall quickly.
I think there's also an imbalance, though, to your activities. Do you agree with that? Like, for me, I was only doing a couple things.
You don't need more trainings.
Right. You know what I mean? Like, you're only doing a couple things, and you're just learning how to do them really, really, really well.
Yeah.
And you're just doing them over and over and over. I feel like there's too many. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things that we're trying to juggle, especially during a push.
Yeah, well, I think that we way overcomplicate this business because here's all you need. How can you get 10 people a day that you're actually presenting the business opportunity to? Like not conversations or something like that, but 10 people here, check this out. 3 people check it out. 1 person signs up. And for every one of us, that's different. Like my abridged version of that is I was willing to do, again, whatever it took. I had a friend who owned 14 yoga studios. He gave me the green light to go into these yoga studios when classes were getting out and share Shakeology. So I would show up with my blender of pre-mixed Shakeology, but there'd be 20 women, upper middle class women. Most of them stay at home coming out of this yoga studio. And like, it's the perfect demographic. 20 women would come out, 10 women would try the Shakeology. I would get there, and I'm being, stereotypically speaking, like there was men and stuff too, but I would get their email addresses and phone numbers, follow up. One of them would sign. Like I could do that every single day and get a new Shakeology person. But what I was really doing, like my intent was, if I get like 5 people to sign up, one of them's going to become a coach. And then that'll lead, like, that's how Haley and I met. That's how Liz Hartke and I met. That's how part of Nicole Jones and I, like, it was through that. Then when we partnered with Les Mills, I was like, oh my gosh, there's like thousands of these Les Mills people. And I just set up a system of reaching out to Les Mills people. So they're every single day, it would just never end. Right. So a lot of us, are waiting for people to come to us, which is good. Like keep working that. But if you're trying to do a massive push, you need 10 people to talk to now. How do you create, like, what can you put together? And everyone's life is different. Like may not have those yoga studios, but you may have, like, how can you create something? That's another thing Craig used to teach us. Like, it doesn't matter what the avenue is, but get an avenue that you can always go to, that you always have people to talk to over and over and over again. Hold on one second. My wife's texting. Dakota, man, I'll text her. Why is that? Okay, I'm good.
I was just going to ask real quick, when you talked about the Les Mills people and you were finding those people, did you try to establish a relationship with them first? Or were you like, hey, I see you're in Les Mills, check this out?
I have this philosophy that if you get the people at the top, everyone else will follow. So a lot of people don't know this, but we came out with Les Mills Pump. And you guys know Jericho, right? I signed her as a coach. I signed Joel Freeman as a coach, Ben Feliciano, and Sheldon McBee. So all the U.S. And with that, I just said to them that I was so fired up about it. I was like, I'm going to start this whole new thing. We're going to focus it in on Les Mills. You guys are going to be the ones in at the top. So they all got signed up, and then it was game on from there. I just went to, like, I could just find, like, with social media, you can just find these little groups, right? And some of them, those, and here's a key thing to learn, like, all 4 of those guys quit, but I have, like, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 diamonds that I work with, and probably 50 diamonds in my downline that came from that.
Wow.
Right? Like over the years of, like, building. And
Crazy. Do you do team calls, or do you mostly just do one-on-one trainings?
I don't even do a team page now. It's so embarrassing. I just started picking it back up, but I took the leader of leaders philosophy a little far, and I would, like, support my leaders pages. So yeah, now I'm because I'm recruiting again. I went through it, like, when I was doing the book and stuff, I didn't really recruit much at all. Now that I'm pushing again, starting to get a team page up and running, but I don't think at this stage in my life I'll commit to a team call. Definitely not at night. Like, right now I'm doing tons of night calls, but that's not how I live because I'm doing a push. Just like when we built Beachbody, like, I'm doing a out of balance every night. My wife's putting 5 kids to bed by herself. Like, it's crazy in our house, but we made that agreement, and we're doing this out of balance push.
Mm.
I got to run because yesterday I broke 2 snow blowers, and my neighbor's coming over to help me load them into the car at 2:30. You guys are Eastern time still, right? Or are you Central?
Central.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're, like, right on the border, though, right?
Mm-mm.
Or close?
I'm in Georgia now, so I moved to Atlanta 7 years ago.
Oh, so yeah, you're Eastern.
Yeah, I'm the Southern Belle.
Well, thank you so much, Keith. This was awesome.
Yeah, I hope it was of value.
Oh, major.
I
Yeah.
have pages and pages of notes, so be anxiously waiting for the recording and for tomorrow's call. So
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. And yeah, we'll do it a little different tomorrow for the whole team.
Yes, big picture, I think, like they were saying, big picture and understanding longevity and where income comes from and recruiting and all that.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
You too. Thanks.